Hi there, my name is Flight Lieutenant Gareth Allen and I'm the 2013 Chinook display co-pilot. For this year's display season, as we have in previous years, we're using the Mark II Chinook helicopter. It's a twin-engine, tandem-rotor, medium-lift helicopter. The helicopter was predominantly designed for the movement of troops and equipment, both internally in the large cabin space, but also externally on the hooks that you'll see underneath the aircraft. We've had the aircraft fitted out with the Medical Emergency Response Team, which allows it to operate as a flying emergency room to enable us to work on soldiers as we're flying them back to the field hospital. So as we said, this is the Mark II Chinook. We normally operate this with a crew of 4, so we'd have a co-pilot and a pilot in the cockpit, and then 2 crewmen operating down the back. But for the purposes of the display you'll see this weekend, we'll just have a single crewman on. As you can see, we've already mentioned, it's a twin rotor aircraft, which makes it quite unique amongst other helicopters which tend to have a tail rotor. But this means that the whole cabin that you can see here, almost 100 feet's worth of cabin, can be used for the carriage of equipment and personnel. So it really maximises the space we can use. So the Chinook has 6 main rotor blades, 3 on each head, and they're about 30 foot long each. And you may have heard the waka waka noise, particularly during the display when we're doing some of the manoeuvres, and that's because the blades actually overlap in the centre of the aircraft by a good 10 to 12 feet. Luckily, all the gearboxes are synchronised, so there's no danger of the blades hitting each other, but that creates that very distinctive noise that people tend to associate with the Chinook. So now we're in the back of the Chinook, and you can see how large the cabin is. The Chinook can be rolled in various different ways. Normally in the troop carrying roll, we'd have rows of seats down both sides of the aircraft, and we can carry up to 30 troops on seats, and if we need to for operations we can increase that to a further 40. When we want to use freight, clearly we can have the seats either removed or stowed, and that gives a huge amount of cabin space to roll in pallets or netted loads inside the aircraft for delivery wherever they're required. So the cabin area really is the domain of the 2 crewmen that we normally have on board. On operations, we have weapon systems both in these doors and on the ramp, and they're operated exclusively by the crewmen. And additionally, the crewmen are responsible for the freight and any troops we've got in the aircraft, so they really are key to the overall operation of the aircraft. Obviously, as I previously mentioned, in the cockpit, we always have 2 pilots on board, a pilot and a co-pilot, and they occupy these seats up here. So here I am in the cockpit now, in the left-hand seat, which is normally operated by the co-pilot. So this is where I'll be sat for the displays, with Paul Farmer sat in the right-hand captain seat. As you can see, there are a lot of switches and dials in here, but actually it's pretty simple. It looks a lot more complicated than it is. So if you grab one of us after the show today, we'll be able to explain to you exactly how it all works. So that's the tour of the Mark II Chinook complete. I hope you've enjoyed having a look around. We certainly enjoyed displaying to you, and I hope you enjoy the show this year.